forum for Camp Verde mayoral candidates for the July 30th primary election ballot and hosted by the Greater Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters, Northern Arizona. My name is Mary Chiquen, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters and your moderator for this evening. The League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan political organization, envisions a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The League of Women Voters is an organization fully committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion in principle and practice. Tonight's forum is being videotaped by the Verde Independent, and we will have access to a link tomorrow morning. The purpose of this forum is to hear from the candidates on why they want to be Camp Verde town mayor. It is also an opportunity for candidates to answer questions submitted by the voters to the Chamber of Commerce prior to this forum. The goal of this forum is fairness, civility, and engagement. I would like to introduce again Kathy Davis. Her role is to keep us on time. She has 3 signs, a 1-minute sign, a 30-second sign, and a stop sign. She will raise the 1-minute sign, then obviously the 30-second sign, and the stop sign. At the stop sign, the candidate must complete their sentence. The forum will be in 3 parts. The first part is opening statements and a question presented by the League of Women Voters. The candidates had both of those questions prior to the forum tonight. Part 2 is questions submitted by the voters, and then part 3 will be closing remarks. As we get started, I would like to go over guidelines for the forum. The moderator's role is to manage the forum fairly for the candidates and the audience with the goal of keeping the discussion moving forward. We ask 4 things of the candidates. Be respectful of each other's points of view, speak your mind freely, do not engage in personal attacks, and do not interrupt one another. The audience is asked to refrain from applauding or in any other way demonstrating support or non-support for the candidates and their comments. Time limits on the responses will be strictly observed. If these guidelines are not adhered to by the candidates and the audience, the moderator will adjourn the forum. Now I would like to introduce the 2 candidates running for Camp Verde mayor. They are, in alphabetical order, Charles German and Dee Jenkins. The candidates will speak in an order drawn prior to the forum, and then we will rotate the order, which gets challenging because you end a question and then you have to answer. So I'll talk slowly with the questions so you get to take a breath. So Dee selected number 1, so she will start with her opening statement. And the question that we gave to the candidates was to introduce themselves to the audience and address, when did you move to the community and why? Why are you running for office and why are you the best candidate? What is your experience serving in public office in the municipality, as a volunteer, and in your career that prepares you to serve in this position? If you are an incumbent, what was your experience prior to being elected? Dee, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, League, and thank you, Chamber. I am Dee Jenkins. I began my professional career as an invoicing clerk in 1970, before computers. Employed by W.L. Gore in their Delaware location and accepting a transfer in 1980, I moved to Flagstaff. In 1997, my husband's dad's health declined, and we relocated to Camp Verde to care for him. We had decided years earlier to retire to Camp Verde, so the decision to move earlier than expected was just fine. I commuted to Flagstaff working for Gore and achieving a personal goal to be a corporate accountant and a facility leader. I left Gore in 2001, and for the last 22 years I've been employed by Quintus, a manufacturing company in Camp Verde. I have served in a variety of capacities, including chairman of the board of directors, chief financial officer, and general manager, with experience as a computer systems specialist, financial analyst, purchasing agent, and am currently responsible for all customer and military-related quotes. I have volunteered for numerous nonprofit organizations and community events. I'm a past member of the Workforce Development Board of NACOG and of the board of the Donny Park Water Company. I'm a current member of the Budget, Finance, and Economic Development Committee for the League of Cities and Towns and chairman of the board of the local PSPRS. Elected to Camp Verde Town Council in 2016 for a 4-year term, the last 2 years I served as vice mayor. I was then re-elected in 2020 for a 2-year term as mayor, and then 2022 my second term as a 2-year. To be elected again recognizes my commitment and dedication to make the most of my over 50 years experience of management, leadership, and financial experience when performing the duties of mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dee. Charlie?
Good evening. I'm Charles German. I moved here from Flagstaff in 1951. And the reason I moved was my parents wanted to leave me in Flag, but I wouldn't stand for it, so I came down and went to second grade. I've submitted my bio to the League of Women Voters, and so I'm going to briefly go through this. I've had a career here in Camp Verde, in the Verde Valley, teaching for 33 years, and I've been involved in a volunteer career while I was teaching, and that included volunteer fire department with the school board for 12 years, and then I was elected as a mayor for 7.5 years. The general plan and character areas that they talked about took place, and the people, you voted on that during my administration. I served from 2013 to 2020. I've also served on the Camp Verde Library Endowment Board since 2004. Throughout my years in Camp Verde, I've also served as church leader while attending with my family. I have 3 grown children, and currently my wife Lynn and I live here in Camp Verde. In summary, I have nearly 65 years of public and private and military administrative experience, as well as retail experience with the McCory Corporation at the junior department level of retail stores. I'm running because I've been asked to by members of the community for whom I have great respect and trust. The past 2 years has been likened to a ship without a rudder amidst management turnover, new personnel hires, and assignments. There's a loss of focus, it seems, by many in our community on the general plan with the character areas and the lack of enforcement of violations of those codes. This is about you, the electorate. In 2016, the voters approved the general plan with character areas 2-to-1. It gives directions to the council and manager how they want the town to grow. It's the responsibility of the council.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, thank you. That's a quick stop sign.
Are you able to see it, the signs?
It's hard with the light, but
It is hard.
We'll manage.
Okay. So the next question was also provided to the candidates ahead of time and is from the League of Women Voters, and they will have 2 minutes to answer the question. As the Verde Valley continues to grow, what does growth look like to you in Camp Verde? Specifically, tell us what you plan to do in your elected role. And Charlie, you're first.
Well, I'd like to throw out a couple of things that have been mentioned with the candidates that we had up here. And one of them is, one of the first things I would like to have the council do is do an assessment of the undeveloped land, that which is under irrigation and that which is not. I'd like to determine just how much property we have that can be developed, and then make contact with the owners and see what their potential future plans are for those plans for their properties, should they choose to sell. Now, obviously, you're going to have different plans that are going to be resold and sold again. But I think that the major part is to look at the general plan and see how those things hit. Also, we're looking at 80 acres for the school district. And I would sure like to see all of the agricultural aid groups in our community, private and public, to be able to put their money behind setting up a school the school district owns that property. It's from the Forest Service, and it has to be used for educational purposes. Let's get something going with FFA and 4-H and education for veterinarians. And I think that would be a real boon for preserving what we have and our rural character. Thank you.
Thank you. Dee?
Thank you. It's a balance. To have enough growth that encourages businesses to come to Camp Verde, providing much-needed shopping options, expanded medical services, job opportunities, and affordable housing, yet does not compromise our lifestyle, natural resources, and small-town values. Availability of affordable housing has been an issue for many years. More subdivisions like the under-construction LIHTC project on Homestead is needed to have a significant impact on our workforce housing market. The 2016 voter-approved general plan is a roadmap to staff and to council in making planning and zoning decisions, and following the general plan will ensure growth does not impact our ability to maintain a rural, western, and family-friendly lifestyle. Much of the Highway 260 corridor has been designated an opportunity zone, providing tax benefits to developers. While in recent years there's been a significant business growth in the area, expansion to the west has been limited due to the lack of infrastructure. Once funding has been identified and construction completed, it is my vision for the town to actively recruit businesses that will provide services, goods, and job opportunities to the community and provide significant sales tax revenues. Camp Verde doesn't have a food tax, we don't have a property tax. It is extremely important as growth occurs to bring in businesses that will contribute to the tax base. It's even more important that future growth does not negatively impact our environment or existing neighborhoods. I will continue to meet with and encourage developers and investors to do business in Camp Verde that is in line with the needs of the community and to work with existing businesses to assure a vibrant and sustainable Main Street and commercial and retail areas.
Thank you. And Dee, you'll be up for the next question.
Okay.
Camp Verde's general plan will expire in 2026. No surprise to either of you. And you are definitely familiar with that plan. What topics do you feel are important to address in the upcoming amendment process? Dee.
Thank you, Mary. The general plan is a model. I hear it when I speak to other communities, they look at our general plan in awe. Whoever thought of character areas had it in a genius. I think it very much represents the community. I can't see us changing it much, maybe a little more definition, maybe more character areas that recognize some of the differences that we have today versus 10 years ago. Update the statistics that are in it. I think it's a useful tool, not only for council and staff as a roadmap as we make decisions, but it's a great piece of work. I can't see that, sorry. It's a great piece of information just to learn about the community in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes. I think the general plan is an outstanding document. In fact, it's one of the best one that I've read in all my professional and private career. My concern is that one of the problems that exists is that the general plan was mandated by the legislature to grow smarter. The problem is that it's often left to the council for major changes. Now, I am encouraged the fact that they're going to bring it back to the vote of the people. I think it should be there, and I would like to go to the legislature to get that codified to where our communities could decide what it is and how we want our community to grow, and it has to be brought back to the people and not given to the council to change, because in 2 years you can have a complete change in philosophy. Thank you.
Charlie, you're up on the next one, and it's 1 minute. What is
Consequences are for enforcement. We cannot continue to have setting our code enforcement officers up for failure. We have to do something different because that's the definition of insanity, when you try to do the same thing and expect something different as an outcome. So with that, I'm short on time. Thank you.
I can. What is your understanding of the council manager form of government? What is the council's role in supporting the success of the new town manager?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, Robert Foreman, if you're still here, you gave a brilliant explanation of the council manager form of government. Council's job is to set policy and give direction. Each one on council is one vote, no heavier than the other. We leave it up to the manager to set parameters in the operations of the town as well as the employees. Whoever is manager, it's their responsibility. It is only council's responsibility to provide direction to the manager, set policy. There is a separation between the town council and staff. We go through the manager, and she directs all the staff and all of the operations. To be successful, we have to work as a team. We have to be respectful. We have to understand what the goal is. Setting strategic plans is a great tool, following the general plan, understanding it together, working together. We are a team. My boss for the last 8 years has been the town, the people of the town. I report to you, but the town council only has, we only can take care of the magistrate, the town attorney, and town manager. Everyone else in the town is under the jurisdiction of the town manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Dee, you're up for this next one.
Okay.
Do you support or oppose Proposition 476, and why?
Okay, thank you. This is an easy one for me. Has anyone received pamphlets in the mail on 476? I wrote what's in your pamphlet. I believe in the words that I wrote. I believe in 476. It's absolutely vital and necessary for the continued operation of the town. As everyone has said, you've already heard it for the past hour before this, it's not a tax on you. It gives the town the ability to spend the funds that they bring in. You can look at it as if we set the budget, but if we end up with an extra $5 million, but it's not within our expenditure limit, we can't spend those funds. They go in a bank account. They don't go to the state, but they go into a bank account until we are able to spend those funds. So it's really important. I absolutely support it, and I hope all of you understand that it's no impact to you personally. It would just allow the town, once they receive funds, to provide more services to the citizens we serve.
Charlie?
Everything she said, but I would like to say, what happens if we spend more than we're allowed? We lose 2/3 of our state tax money coming back to us. It goes into the fund, but we can't spend it. So that's where you lose the ability to spend that. So you talk about being a bind and cutting back on services. That's exactly where you put the town. So I'm in favor of 476.
Thank you. Charlie, you'll be up for this one. 1 minute. Camp Verde adopted its first strategic plan in 2024. What elements of the plan resonate with you most? What is your commitment to strategic planning for the community going forward?
Well, I tell you, I am so excited about the strategic planning because that was a plan when I first was elected in 2013. But we had so many other activities going on and crucial problems to solve, we never got to that particular thing. But the strategic plan really sets up the same thing for planning and revitalizing downtown. If you don't have a scope and sequence, as we call it in education, you're going to build some things and wind up tearing it out. And that's a waste of money. So if you have a good plan, you're not going to be rebuilding and tearing out and rebuilding again and again. So I'm excited about the strategic planning, and it's an integral part of running a community. Thank you.
Dee?
I come from the private sector, so planning is just a part of business. I've been an advocate for many, many years for the town to work on not only strategic plans, but plans within the departments, and I'm happy to share with you that many of the departments do have master plans. The strategic plan is it's a living document. It's a point in time what we feel like is important to the community. It is a guideline for staff when preparing the budget to know what things are important and to budget that way. If something comes up that they think that they want to spend money on, but it hasn't been incorporated in the strategic plan, then perhaps something else has to go. But it has to, when the budget is put together, we have to correlate it to the strategic plan, which is a plan that we hope incorporates all the views, hopes, and wishes of the town of Camp Verde, all of its citizens. I hope you all have a chance to read it. It really is the first one that we've ever done. I'm very proud of the work. I'm very proud of council, and I'm very proud of staff that we were able to put that together. Stop. I say stop. I'm sorry.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dee, 1 minute on this question. Camp Verde is currently considering a number of amendments to the zoning code. Animal point counts, conditional and by right uses, planned area developments. What is your familiarity with these issues, and what other areas of the code may need to be addressed?
Everything. And I don't mean to be flippant or funny, but the majority of the code was incorporated from the county many, many years ago. I believe that the date I heard was 1976. I know we've had some iterations over the years. Council recognized several years ago that it does need to be reviewed, updated. It needs to be much clearer for code enforcement and for the citizens to understand what's expected with planning and zoning. I'm anxious to hear from the community as we work through the process of updating the codes. Your feedback is absolutely vital in making sure those codes represent the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie?
I'm very familiar with that, and in the past, before I gained a little more education about the codes, I found later that most of the codes were, we hired experts who went to other communities, copied the codes from other communities and cut and paste and brought them back, and it was our new codes. A lot of the stuff came from the county roots and developed that. What I'm really looking at is the talent that we have within our community to be able to rewrite, and as Dee says, we need to make it very clear and the consequences of violations and have the enforcement very clear so there's no double meanings. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you. And Charlie, you'll be up first on this one. It's another 1 minute question. The Camp Verde Sports Complex is now partially open and serving the community. What are your priorities for upcoming projects at the sports complex, and how will that project be built out in the long term?
Well, I think there's a plan. I haven't had the opportunity to go in and double check to see what the plan, how it exists right now. But the fact is that I'm delighted to see that. In fact, I have 408 feet of exposure to the eastern or the western side of the sports complex. My house is right there. So I can hop the fence and go walk all hours of the night, which I don't. But it was entered into with a long-term project. COVID hit us. We had to take a hiatus on waiting for additional monies for that. So it's in essence been kind of a nightmare, but I have to commend council on being able to pull those things together. And I was asked the other day, what would I do with $1 million grant? I'd probably pay for our restrooms, because I think that's one of the costs, was just the $1 million for restrooms for the complex, which is, I mean, that's crazy.
Thank you, Charlie. Dee? Sure. The Camp Verde Sports Complex is now partially open and serving the community. What are your priorities for upcoming projects at the sports complex, and how will that project be built out in the long term?
First of all, I'm thrilled that it is open. The soccer field's multi-use, gorgeous. I'm glad that the softball, baseball fields are open, but there's a couple things that we really need to address and address quickly. That's the restrooms, concession stand, which hopefully we'll see come to council in the next month or so. ADA, the parking lot. We have to have a way of getting everybody up to those fields safely and securely. To me, that's a priority. Lights in the parking lot. I know these seem like really simple things, but they're very expensive things, but they're absolutely vital. I mean, part of the municipality's job is to protect the citizens. Having a safe parking lot and way to get up to the fields is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dee, this is yours for 1 minute. How does the town of Camp Verde currently communicate with the public? And what should be the priorities for improving communication and public engagement in the future?
Thank you. When I first came on council and then ultimately became mayor, one of my priorities was to answer everyone that sent me a text, a phone call, and I tell you I have accomplished that. But more importantly is the town staff themselves to communicate. I was very happy when our interim town manager, Gail Mabry, started communicating with the weekly newsletter to council, a report of all the departments, the police department, what was happening just throughout the operation, keeping us abreast of everything that was coming towards us. That was wonderful, and our new town manager has continued on that role. And in discussions with her, she has a great idea. We're going to start releasing this out to the public so that you see the same information that we see, that you know what's going on, and encourage you to come to council meetings and bring your ideas and your comments to us through that newsletter. She'll contact the town manager to get on her email list or check out the town website. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie?
Well, I think that the idea of getting the communication out to the community is really a good idea. And I think we need to be mindful of, there's a lot of dinosaurs like me when it comes to technology that I can get by with it. But there's a lot of people that they don't get that information through social media or on the computer. And it would be really nice if we had something like a coffeegram that came from the town into the businesses within the community. And I think that would be well worth the resources that it would take to do that, so that everyone that frequented either Bash's or the post office even get permission to have those there. And I think that would be a big help and aid in helping staff as well as our manager, as well as council in getting the information out.
Thank you. Okay, Charlie, you have 1 minute on this next question. Cities, towns, and the Yavapai Apache Nation in the Verde Valley work together in such endeavors as emergency services, regional economic development, transportation, tourism marketing, outdoor recreation, just to cite a few examples. What role should Camp Verde have in regional initiatives, and what collaborative actions would you support?
Total wholehearted collaboration with the nation and regional. It's kind of like when I lived here, when we had silo mentality in the Verde Valley, that it was a knockdown, drag-out fight from schools to community people, even dance hall at Cornville. It was a battle between Camp Verde and Cottonwood or Jerome or wherever. And I'm happy to see that change whenever we became incorporated, because we realized that anything that Camp Verde does affects the other communities within our area. And so when we raise the water rises in our harbor, it rises all ships. And it's been a great thing to experience cooperation among our communities. And so the tribe is no different. They feel as much a part of our community as I feel a part of them.
Thank you. Dee?
I can, I guess, speak to this as part of what I do as mayor, and that is build those relationships and those partnerships outside of the town of Camp Verde. The payback is just immense. We have every 2 weeks, the Verde Valley Mayor Managers meet. Every 6 months, we meet with everyone in the Yavapai County, including ADOT, Forest Service, Fish and Game, all the mayors and managers. We share what we're doing, how we're doing it, how we can work together. We're talking now of a regional dispatch. That would be such a wonderful idea and so cost effective to have a regional dispatch instead of each police department or marshal's department having their own. Yavapai Apache Nation, wonderful, wonderful partners. I meet with them every single month, more often if necessary. They've been great partners to work with. We share a common vision for the town of Camp Verde and to protect the Verde River and our culture here. I appreciate their diversity and all of the diversity of the people of town of Camp Verde. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dee, 1 minute on this question. Camp Verde has worked on projects designed to preserve the Verde River, reduce domestic water use, and capture rainfall runoff. What are your concerns regarding priorities around water resources, particularly regarding growth in the area? How would you reduce or reuse water?
The first thing I would like to see is the sewer expansion take place in 260. Putting septic into the town municipality septic system that goes to the treatment plant where we can reuse that water. Many of you may or may not know that we're recycling, the water that's on the sports complex comes from recycled water from our sewer. The more septic tanks that we can not put in and use public sewer, the better off we are, particularly ones next to the Verde River. We want to be sure that we preserve and protect the Verde River. I support any method to take care of, what should I say? We just passed the water budget, which encourages people to conserve water. We need to do more of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie?
I agree with everything that Dee had just said on the septic systems and removing the water from septics and putting it into our own system. That was the plan when we started this economic corridor and planning the infrastructure. One thing I want to address, we need to get the adjudication done. They started that before I was born. And it's still not done. The legislature will not fund it. They've been increasing that, and Dee, you may have some additional information that I'm not aware of, but people don't know what they can do. Also, to be able to bank our water. Before we bought the water utility, we did not, as a town of Camp Verde, have any ability to bank the water that we were owed as a result of owning property, like the town hall and all of that area. You have water rights. Now we can bank that water, and we need to make that very clear on what people can do.
Thank you. Charlie, you're up next. We have seen a growing trend at the state level to disempower local governments and tie our hands regarding things like short-term rentals, cellular towers, local zoning, local sales taxes, and more. What do you feel is the best way to handle this going forward?
Bulldoze the legislature. Did that slip out? I didn't. Okay. No, you're absolutely right. Those things are encroaching, and now one of the latest hot button items is now to build affordable housing within your residential areas at the federal level. No qualms by the local governments. No questions asked, no protests about it. That's being suggested. I hope it doesn't ever happen, but those are the kinds of things that we have to watch and look at the legislature and see what it is. We can't sit back and watch and expect people to do the right thing. 90% will, that 10% will push the envelope. And a lot of the problems that we have in Camp Verde are there.
Dee? Certainly, no problem. We have seen a growing trend at the state level to disempower local governments and tie our hands regarding things like short-term rentals, cellular towers, local zoning, local sales tax, and more. What do you feel is the best way to handle this going forward?
It's tough. Camp Verde, we up here run as nonpartisan. We're not a political party. I'm not political, but unfortunately, down in Phoenix they are, and that's the way they vote. So the voice that I have is through the League of Cities and Towns. When the legislature is in session, I meet via Zoom with the representatives from the League of Cities and Towns. They go through every Senate and House bill that's coming up. They explain it to all the mayors and managers who are on the Zoom call. And we get a chance then to voice our opinion and contact the legislator whether we support it or not. It's just through constant discussion with them, communication with them, and hopefully that our LD representatives also vote in our favor and protect our rural municipality rights. Thank you.
Thank you. KD, 1 minute for this question. What are the top 3 issues facing Camp Verde in the next 2 years? And how would you meet these challenges? Please be specific.
I hear you.
Pardon me? Thank you. What are the top 3 issues facing Camp Verde in the next 2 years? And how would you meet these challenges? Please be specific. What resources are needed to address these issues? How would you be visible and transparent and engage the community in identifying and addressing these critical issues?
Sure. Well, the first one is controlling growth in a fashion that fits our needs. We've talked about it tonight. A part of that is going to be the general plan and feedback that we're going to be working on the next 2 years. We need growth, but we also need the right kind of growth, and we need to protect our culture and our lifestyle. But we do need growth to have the services that you all want, particularly medical services and retail. Secondly is what Phoenix does to us has a huge impact, and our budget, to me, that's an issue. When Phoenix reduces shared revenue, it reduces our ability to serve you because we can't put it in the budget. That's a problem. And the next one is affordable housing. LIHTC is the first step in that. There's 2 phases to that, but that's just a beginning in addressing the housing issue.
I'm up? Okay. I think reviewing the general plan we've talked about, obviously water, but Dee just mentioned something about affordable housing. And I think we have a gold mine at Clear Creek. And the fact that the town owns so many properties out there that are in flood zone, floodway, and if we could take care of and mitigate the flooding out in Verde Lakes, coupled with a governmental project to complete that, we could reclaim a lot of that property where the town still owe it, and that housing could be built for affordable housing. And we could set the parameters on that for teachers, police officers, first responders, etc., whatever the town might decide and the community decides what the need would be. Thank you.
Charlie, you'll be up first on this one. And it's 1 minute.
Can I rest?
How many questions do you have here?
I've got lots. I'm going to fill my hour.
You know, it's past my bedtime.
Many of the town's issues involve the participation of outside entities. How will you navigate and build partnerships with agencies like ADOT, the Yavapai County Supervisors, U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, state representatives, the governor, congressional representatives, Yavapai College, Northern Arizona Healthcare, and any other entities that control part of the town and the residents here quality of life? Who are the top 3 critical partners and why? Charlie, you're first.
Well, I would say that the tribe would be one of the top priorities because they have good relationships with Congress and that if we are in agreement and we go jointly to Congress, we have a much greater likelihood of getting results. The second group would be our local mayors and elected officials in the Verde Valley in Yavapai County, and we're also integrally tied with Coconino and the Board of Supervisors. So I think those also, they have connections with the legislature and with the governor's office. In my past servings in various administrative leadership roles, I had connections at the governor's office as well as the legislature. And we had legislation rewritten for volunteer fire departments.
Thank you. Dee?
That was a mouthful of a question, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, let me repeat it sort of quick. How's that? Many of the town's issues involve the participation of outside entities. I won't read them all again, but there are a lot. Which do you think are the top 3 or the most critical partners that you need to be working with on behalf of the quality of life of Camp Verde?
Okay, I'm going to give you an answer. It really depends on what the issues are. For instance, when we had the terrible smoke last year with all the fires, my first call was to the Forest Service, to Todd at the Prescott National Forest, and to Alex over at Red Rock Ranger District. They now coordinate together so that we're not bombarded with 5 fires all at the same time. I work a lot with the Yavapai Apache Nation. We have a land settlement deal with them. We're going to wrap up the water settlement deal, which is going to address to a certain extent adjudication. So that's really important for our quality of life, to work with the Yavapai Apache Nation. The county supervisors, James Gregory lives right here in Camp Verde. He's a supervisor for our district here. He's been wonderful. When we had the COVID pandemic and I wanted to have the option of getting a vaccination here, it was through James that arranged for the vaccination here. So it depends on what the issue is, who I tap into, but I have a list of names that I can share with every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dee, you're up next on this one.
Yes, ma'am.
Which action as a member of the council or as a candidate have you seen as the biggest accomplishment over the last 2 years?
Oh my.
You can pick 2 if you want.
Yeah, so much has really been done the last couple of years. We've made such strides. Just getting the plans, all the master plans, the stormwater, the GIS, the strategic plan. These are all roadmaps on how we move forward, how we appropriate money to better serve the community. It's hard to pick one because it's the way we're doing business today and how we work together as a council, as a manager, in support of the public. Thank you.
Charlie?
Each one of those components is so essential to bringing more clarity to what the council is doing, what the town is going to do, and how the community can have and see that transparency. It's a big time saver for staff as well, as you get all of these components that are tied together. And it's like Dee said, it's so important that you have the complete board covered with those particular components. Each one would apply to a different part.
Okay, thank you. And we'll have 1 minute for this. Charlie, we'll start with you. How would you describe the town's culture of sustainability today? What are your priorities for continuously improving sustainability in Camp Verde? What is your vision for sustainability in Camp Verde?
I would say that the sustainability is at the brink of being much better. I think as we continue to invest in our infrastructure, our projects on the 260 corridor improves, that our sustainability will improve. I can remember when we didn't have any growth, and as a teacher out here at the school district, we were frozen for 4 or 5 years on salaries because we had no increase to our tax base. I agree with what the council members mentioned tonight. We need to control growth and thoughtful growth as we proceed into our future.
Thank you. Dee?
We have work to do on sustainability. How do I answer this? We need to be more in charge of our own future, and by that I mean we need to have a revenue stream that comes right from the town of Camp Verde and not rely so much on Phoenix and the shared revenues, because Lord knows what Phoenix is going to do to us next year with cutting shared revenues, impacting our rental receipts. These are all significant to our budget, so we need to be in more control of our future. And how do we do that? Is we find ways of generating revenue here that helps us support the entire community. That will also lead to sustainability. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Charlie, you already answered that one. So we're at the, you did, right?
You answered that
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
So we're at the point now for closing statements by our candidates. We will do them in reverse order of the opening statements. So Charlie German, we'll start with you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for you being here tonight to listen to us. And I want to thank Dee for being here tonight as well. I had the opportunity to serve with her as mayor, and she was my vice mayor, and I miss that combination. I would just like to say thank you to the Chamber and the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. And I would really like you to consider me for your new mayor. I come with experience, leadership, integrity, and would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. And Dee Jenkins.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for your kind words. I have the understanding and ability to be an effective mayor and to use my experience and operational knowledge as well as established contacts to better serve the town and to complete ongoing projects and work towards achieving current and future goals. I want to be part of the process that successfully responds to the challenges and opportunities that we face as a growing community. Continuing to be a part of the workforce has kept me relevant and in touch with the community and beyond. I have a deep appreciation and love for this town, the Verde River, and the diverse interests of the community and the people who live here. It has been my honor to serve on council these past 8 years. I humbly and respectfully request your vote for another term as mayor. I really appreciate everyone who came here, the league. Thank you very much. And Charlie, thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dee. I'd like to thank the candidates. If you'd like to apply, go for it. I'd like to thank the candidates for participating this evening and for you, the audience. We wouldn't have a forum if it weren't for you. I want to remind you again that election day for the primaries is July 30th. The last day to register to vote, to change your party registration, or update your address is July 1. Ballots will be mailed, and the first day to file an early ballot is July 3rd. Completed ballots can be returned by mail or dropped off at the election location in Camp Verde or in the county election offices. Once again, thank you for participating, and please remember, voting is people power. Have a wonderful trip home.
Mary, could I get a clarification? A lot of people have been asking me about the primary election. I think for Dee and I, since there's just two of us, that will be our
Yes.
final, that will be the final vote. So if you're planning on voting for mayor November 5th, we'll be gone.
Right.
One of us will be here.
We'll be asleep.
We'll be
All right, so the decision for mayor will be made at the primary election on July 30th.
Thank you.
Charlie, thank you very much.
Thank you for videoing this.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.